Hello and welcome to Econometrics. I'm your host, John Harvey. We'll have an exciting 4-week adventure learning everything in this book and perhaps writing a book of our own. Who knows? Maybe a book of our travels together and how we all learned econometrics. But enough about that. Now, let me show you what the class is all about. Okay, so I am hoping that you know how to get to TCU Online. I think that when you log in, you'll automatically see the classes that you're signed up for. And, I'm going to switch this to where I can change to where I will see what you see. All right, so let's see. View as student. Okay, there it is. I've cut a little bit of the top off on purpose. Because there was a glare up there. There's a light that's glaring right up in here. So anyway, but I'm going to make sure that I leave everything that you need to see in shot. Okay, the first thing you need to see is the beautiful photograph that I placed in here. I wonder if I can save as. Please, I encourage everyone to save a picture of that orc that I painted by hand. You can really see it well up close. I didn't want to just leave the picture that they had there already. I wanted to do something of my own, but I really had nothing econometrics worthy, so I decided to put a Lord of the Rings figure up there instead, so I hope you enjoy that. All right, so let's see what we've got here. Welcome to your favorite class of the July summer session. And what I say down here is very important to me. I really enjoy teaching this course, and I take pride in making it understandable. I focus more on intuition than formulas, and I want you to share my excitement about the subject. Please ask questions when you don't understand, and for goodness sake, keep up. Don't wait until the last minute to do assignments. That's when econometrics does indeed become frightening. Now, I figured what we would do is, I was trying to decide how to do this. Those of you that have had one of my classes before, you know that I usually have this little PowerPoint and I show all the things that that's my hand. Show all the things that how the exams work and stuff like that. Well, this class is different. I don't have that because the exams aren't the same. Everything is open book, open note, and it is even when we're actually on campus and there isn't a horrible global pandemic. The exams are all open book because I figured that one day, if you're actually using this, I'm going to hopefully give you the basic concepts, and then you can know enough to go back and figure out which chapter to look at to see how you do that again, all right? So everything's open note, open book, so all the stuff I usually talk about on my exams does not hold here. And so I decided, I looked over my usual PowerPoint that I use, and I decided that wasn't going to be any good today, so I'm going to do this instead. All right. And since this is the core, oh man, okay, I got to tell you. TCU, and I think this is totally appropriate, but TCU made everybody learn how to use this. And they wasn't just learn how to use it. I had to take, I had to take an exam. They told me I was one of the few people who made a perfect score. I just wanted to mention that. But they had us go through all this training to put together a course online because they knew what fall was going to look like. And the last stage, and I can't imagine how busy the Kaler Center for Teaching Excellence is right now, but because they have to meet with every single faculty member for like a half an hour to an hour to talk to them about their class. So, Kate Marshall talked to me about this class right here. So this is something that's kind of new to me, but I want you to know that what happened at the end of spring semester, where we were all trying to make it up as we went along, TCU wanted to make sure that didn't happen again, and all of us are supposed to have completed our training. I've already got mine done because I'm doing a July class before fall starts, or they won't let you teach the class. So let's see. As I said, this is kind of new to me, I think I figured it out enough. I put a bunch of stuff on here. And let me show you, first of all, when you click on, can you see that there? Yeah, I got a little monitor over here. When you click on content, let's see what we see here. Okay. Over here on the left, bookmarks. I don't know what that is. If you don't know what something is, just ignore it. All right. Course schedule, or schedule as my mother would say. I have no idea what that is. I don't know what that is. All right. So, but table of contents is what we just had right here. Important course information. That's the first thing on this page here. I'm going to click on content again and show you important course information. That's the first thing you really need to worry about. I'm going to click on that. And now we've got the syllabus and then the homework for this summer. And that's going to summarize all the homework you have to do all semester long. Let's see. let's just go ahead and get into the syllabus here. And there it is. Let's see, I better slide the page down a little bit. There we go. Okay. Can you see that? Yes, you can. All right. Economics 40313. Now, those of you that have had my class before are probably thinking, where is that beautiful syllabus you usually have with the 2 columns in that? One of the things they taught us in that online training over the summer is that there are people who have difficulty reading that. That even though this may not look as attractive, it's easier to read. So, okay, so I changed my syllabus and did it this way. And by the way, a lot of the things that are added on here were directly suggested by that training. Okay, let's see what we got here. John T. Harvey, hey, that's me. 4th floor Scarborough Hall, as if we're ever going to go back on campus ever again. But if we do ever go back, I'm on the 4th floor of Scarborough Hall. 3 hours credit, location online, office hours, Tuesday 9 to 10. I just made something up, honestly. I mean, whenever you need to talk to me, just let me know, because obviously doing it via Zoom is very easy. I made that up, right? So don't pay attention to that. There's my cell number. I always make sure that all my students have my cell number, because I would much rather that you reduce the uncertainties that you have in your mind than come into the exam and think, man, that Harvey guy just wasn't any help whatsoever. I want you to bear the blame for your failure. Oh, wait, no, that's not what I'm doing at all, is it? All right. So you've got my cell number there. You've got my TCU email address. Now, let me tell you that my TCU email automatically forwards to my Gmail. And I just talked to IT about this. So you may get emails from me sometime that are marked probable fraud, all right? Because that is exactly the kind of setup somebody would be using if they'd hijacked a professor's email address. But it's almost certainly me. Just check to see if the email from which it came was johnterrenceharvey@gmail.com. Then it's really me. But you might end up seeing mine marked as probable fraud, which is kind of exciting. Final exam. Take place on the last regularly scheduled day of class at the normal class time. That there is no such thing in the summer as, I've got 2 exams on the same day. In fact, if you're taking 2 classes, you will have 2 exams on the same day. Hey, by the way, I wanted to make sure I remembered to mention this to you. I learned this from my daughter, Alex, who is in law school right now, and she came home at the end of spring semester like everybody else did. And she said, my gosh, she learned how to play the video at like 1.5 speed. That's a hell of an idea. I've been taking another online training thing. I've got them all cranked up to 1.5 was the max I could do. And people sound funny, which in and of itself is amusing, but also you get through faster. So please feel free right now to speed up the video to 1.5 times speed. There's a little place down there somewhere in YouTube where you can do that. And then I'm going to sound really funny because I'm going to talk really fast. Okay, now... All right. Synchronous class meetings. They tell you in this training that you should point out on your syllabus what days you're going to need, you as the student are going to need to be available at the class time to meet. And I got to tell you, what I said here was, first of all, I told you that all of the videos for the entire semester are already done. I finished them back in May. And so if you go to this YouTube page right here, let's see, it wouldn't let me just click on it. So I'll have to do a Control-C for copy. Let's open another window, Control-V. And this is my page for econometrics. Click on playlists, all right? Click on playlists. And then you'll see econometrics. View full playlist. I shouldn't have said it was my page for econometrics. It's my page for all my classes. But click on playlists and then click on view full playlist. And there's every lecture. I sat there and did the entire course in May so that we could have everything ready to go for you guys once the semester started. So I'm going to go back to this again. That all the videos are already available right here. However, we will also meet via Zoom, all right? Links to be provided on designated days. Now, as I have never taught econometrics this way before, I do not yet have a clear idea regarding how often that will be necessary, and it might well vary from topic to topic. They encouraged us in the Kaler Center to say ahead of time when they were going to be. Well, if this was the second time I was teaching the class, I probably could do that. But right now, I just don't know what it's going to be like. And I'll tell you, the biggest problem, all right? This is something I really learned from that training, is that apparently it's very easy for you all to become disengaged from the course and not do the homework. You're not coming to class every day, all right? So it's very easy to lose contact. So they emphasized how important it is for me to maintain contact with you. And I've got an assignment here in a minute that's related to that. But to maintain contact with you, so that's what we're going to do. What it says here, for now, assume you need to hold the class hours open just as you would if we had done this in person. And then I have a little note here that basically said what I just said. These meetings will enable me to closely monitor your emerging understanding of the course material. Because that's the thing, right? I've already done the entire semester's lecture. But I got to tell you what the most challenging thing about it was not having faces out there that looked either confused or they were getting it, So I just went on, and there were times when I knew from experience, I have taught this class since 1988, all right? So I've had a lot of experience teaching econometrics, and I have some idea of what's going to be challenging. But still, it's not the same. As you know, I'm not telling you anything you don't know. It's not the same not having those faces out there. So what I could not accomplish with that YouTube page was to get the feedback necessary to see if you were following these concepts or not. So we're going to do the Zoom thing. First day of class for sure. And then we'll see how things go. That's all I can tell you right now. The goal is for you to pass econometrics. So whatever it takes to do that, then that's what we're going to do. All right, let's see. Catalog description. They suggest you put the catalog description in, so I did. Learning outcomes. I totally understand why people do this, and it's not a bad idea. It did make me sit and think about what goal we're going to have here. But I think that a big reason they do this on syllabi is because it's required by accrediting agencies. What were the learning outcomes? Did they achieve these outcomes? But here are my learning outcomes. You can read through those if you want to. They're not going to have a lot. That's what's in the back of my head. And what I'm thinking, I want you to figure out by the end of the semester. If you don't look back at it ever again, that's not going to make any difference. Prerequisites. A C or better. Actually, I think it's a C minus or better. I think we changed that. In either intro micro, intermediate micro, intro macro. Also, we want you to have micro and macro. But it could be the two intros, it could be the two intermediates, it could be any mix thereof. But we want you to have had a micro and a macro. Of course, the computer already kicked you out if you didn't have this. And statistics, either the one from the math department or the one from what does INSC stand for? Supply chain. All right. Okay. Reminder. Oh, I forgot to put this in. Oh, yeah, I did. I did put it in there. All right. You have to get a C or better, C minus or better in this class to count it towards your econ major. And this class is required of all econ majors that aren't the BA econ major. All right. So that's the BS International and then the regular BS, but it's required of all them. Let's see about this. Oh, the text. Oh, okay. I'm going to tell you, this is a hell of a book. Now, I know it's like $200 for this thing. It's really expensive. But as I said, I've been teaching this since 1988. This is far and away the best econometrics textbook I have ever seen. The guy's attitude, A.H. Studentman, is I can show you a bunch of proofs. Okay, I took, and it's going to come up here in a minute, I took every single econometrics course my university, my graduate program had to offer, including what they call the field series, where if you're going to make a career out of doing econometrics. I didn't take the exam, though. There's an exam at the end to sort of say, okay, I have a field in that. But I took all the courses that would have led to that. 2 of us survived to the end of the semester. It was brutal. All we ever did was proofs. I never ran a single regression the whole time. Shoot, you're going to do 10 times as much as I did in terms of practical terms than I did. He wants it to be practical. In fact, it says a practical guide. All right. So this is a wonderful book. As I went back through it, I hadn't taught it actually in about 8 years. And this is a new edition. So I went back through it in great detail, typed up a whole bunch of new notes and stuff like that, and was struck again by what a great book it is. So we will absolutely use it. I apologize for the price. We will absolutely use it. You will need, and you may well keep it. Let me tell you a story. I was teaching econometrics, I don't remember how long ago it was, but during the semester of teaching it, I got an email from one of our graduates, and that person said, Dr. Harvey, is there like a book or something I could read to learn econometrics? Because I didn't take it when I was at TCU, and now I think I need it. So I was telling my class, and here's a poor devil, that's a book. Here's a poor devil that didn't get a chance to do what you're doing right now. What a glorious thing. And no, there's probably not a book you can just read. It's complicated, all right? Well, you got to have somebody explain it to you, all right, and explain it the right way. So this is a very valuable skill. Make sure that when you write out your resume that you don't just say, I have a BS in economics, and put down there as your skills, econometrics, and then you can use Stata, all right? That's going to make you different from other job candidates, and it's going to open some doors, all right? So really important stuff. Okay, so let's see. That was about the book. Oh, you'll also need a statistical package called Stata, and I emailed y'all about that to go ahead and download that. But the university provides it. I showed you where to get it. About this course, me and you. I don't remember what I said here. Let's find out. First off, do not be scared of econometrics. I've already been talking about this. It's actually very interesting and quite useful. In fact, make a point of highlighting on your resume. Okay. What you should be scared of is not econometrics. It's procrastination. You absolutely have to keep up with the lectures and the homework, or you will find yourself retaking the course or changing your major. Historically, I look back to see what my grades were from all the previous semesters I've taught this. Historically, about 20% of my class earns a D or an F. Those are the people retaking it. And about 50% end with an A or a B. So about 30% end up with a C. All right, and absolutely, positively, and without question, the single biggest difference was attendance and finishing the homework on time or at all. Sometimes they just didn't do the homework at all. You've got to keep up with it. And that's why I say that the really dangerous thing about this semester is that you're not coming to class and seeing me. That's why I want to do the Zoom thing to keep you in here and not let you slip off and forget about the class. Let's see. Now I talk about why I use the book. Okay. Yeah. All right. Assignments. Or if you pronounce it literally, assignments. That's the way I pronounce it. There will be 2 exams. There I am. 2 exams and 4 homeworks. And 5 opportunities for reflection and discussion. Those are free points. I thought I would do this summer to help you out since it's going to be hard to do this in the summer. Well, I'm sorry, not because it's in the summer, but because it's all online. But I'll tell you about those 5 opportunities here in just a second. Let's see, the relative weights are as follows. And this is a little, that thing up here is something that they told us in the Kaler Center we ought to do. What's exam 1 going to cover in terms of those course outcomes that were listed up here? 1 through 5. And it's going to cover 3, 4, and 5. And what are the discussion reflections going to cover? So anyway, they suggest you do that. And again, that might be an accreditation thing that they want us to do that so that when people come in and not investigate us, that sounds like we committed a crime. What do they call that? Review. Then they'll want to see people's syllabi and see that we did it this way. All right. But anyway, you don't need to know any of that. You can skip over that little table right there. Weights, homeworks. There's going to be a total of 30 points on homework. 30 on exam 1, 35 on exam 2, 5 on the reflections. Should be free points on the reflections. The homeworks, there's 4 of them at 7.5 points each. All right, and then the grades will be assigned as follows. Let's see. I round up is the bottom line there. Also, I don't like plus and minus. So you're either going to get an A, B, C, D, or F. Let's see. Assignments are due as indicated on the homework sheet. Late assignments lose 10% of the possible grade per 24 hours past the point they were due, rounded up. Partial assignments will not be accepted. And once I have reviewed the homework with the class, it will no longer be accepted at all, and the grade will be entered as 0. That's huge, because that's where people end up screwing up this class. Because I'll tell you why. You might be thinking, well, that's only 30% of the grade. But the exams are basically the homework all over again, all right? I mean, I haven't written the test yet. That's the one thing I haven't done so far, and I want those written hopefully before the semester starts, but maybe during the semester. But I'm just going to look back at the old homeworks and, change a few things around, that sort of thing. So not only do people who don't do the homework not get those points up there, they also then can't pass the test. Right? Let's see here. Okay, and then it says, see the end for academic misconduct stuff. All right. Attendance / engagement. We're not really going to have attendance, obviously. But what I normally tell students is that I assume that you're an adult, and so I'm leaving it to you to come to class. Class norms and netiquette. I may have block copied this from the Kaler Center right here, this class norms and netiquette. If I deem any of them to be inappropriate or offensive, I will forward the message to the chair of the department. That's actually me. So I'll send myself an email to let myself know that in my class something happened. But anyway, I was telling you not to be a jerk. All right. And I think this is common to all of the syllabi this next semester. They're supposed to include that. I did add something myself. Note that the economics discipline has particularly had problems with issues of race and gender. And see, for example, and then there's a little Forbes thing here about economics is very white male dominated. And I have a lot of reasons why I think that's true, but they're not really part of econometrics. So there have been some real problems, not at TCU, but in the discipline in general with harassment, discrimination, and so forth. Yay, economics. All right. Email. Always check your TCU email. That'll be the only thing. What I do is I go in and I block copy all the email addresses and mail it out to there, so it goes to the TCU one. So be sure you check that. Let's see. Course materials. TCU students are prohibited from sharing any portion of the course materials. I honestly don't care about the stuff I made up. But if there's anything that's coming from this, then you're not supposed to share it because they spend a lot of money doing that. I don't care so much. But let's see, accessing, copying, transporting. That's a boilerplate explanation of you shouldn't be using copyrighted material and giving it out to other people. Violating this is a violation of so and so, and it could also be so and so. Okay, all right. This again is a section that every syllabus is supposed to have, academic misconduct. And I'm unfortunately going to have to talk about that a little bit more in a minute. But it's the same thing that you see on every syllabus. So cheating, plagiarism, collusion, so forth. Let's see. Now, I do have something I added myself here to end. Students are not the only ones who should be held to a moral standard in the process of determining course grades. It is equally vital to the integrity of the course that the instructor maintain the highest level of honesty. And I promise everyone that first, no student will have a grade changed simply because they made inquiries regarding my evaluation. I don't know if you're familiar with this phenomenon or not. Hey, I went up and talked to Dr. Johnson, which, by the way, I just made up. I'm not referring to a specific professor. And he gave me a couple extra points on the test. You can't do that. I mean, if the person deserved a couple of extra points, absolutely, all right? But it can't be part of your policy that if somebody comes and talks to you, and I've heard professors say this, not in my department, and it's been a long time. But, so-and-so stopped by, I gave them a couple extra points. Like, that's awful. I actually strangled that person when they said that. So I won't do that because it's not fair to everybody else. Nor will someone receive a higher grade on the basis of need. Oh, I put one the basis of need. On the basis of need. I got this off of Don Clark's syllabus, one of my professors at University of Tennessee. Need to keep a scholarship, to stay in school, to not be killed by parents, etc. Then let's see. Okay, I'm probably going to grade the test blindly. I don't know how this online thing is going to work, but I say I am right there, and that is absolutely what I normally do. Standard I will be applied. Okay, same for everybody. And I also feel strongly that it's each student's right to understand how their grade was determined, and I'm always happy to fully explain whatever questions you may have. Please email me with any inquiries. Get together. We'll figure it out. All right. So those of you who've been in my class before, you know that when I give a test back, I always say, if you've got more questions, I'm not defensive about it. I make mistakes. If I made a mistake in your favor, keep your mouth shut. The world is unfair enough as it is. You caught a break. But if I made a mistake that's against you, then absolutely let me know, and I'll double check to make sure that I agree with you, because I don't always. And well, actually, that is wrong. But anyway, I'm happy to do it. Let's see. Okay, this is really good here. Getting started with TCU Online. Ironically, in order to get to this, you must already be on TCU Online. But they suggest that this be included in all syllabi so that you can see how there's orientation videos and stuff like that. So let's see how this course will use TCU Online. I think I was required to include this line. I'm not sure what it's about otherwise. I'll be posting lectures, Zoom links, and your grades there. However, I prefer that you email. That's not necessarily true anymore. You know what? I just revised this syllabus a couple of hours ago based on some things I changed. And I think I'm going to try. Well, we'll do whatever's easiest for you. All right. I think I'm going to try to do it to where you submit things at TCU Online, because then I can. There's a lot more things I can do in terms of responding to you. But if we turn out to use email, we'll turn out to use email. Whatever works. Getting help at TCU Online. Obviously, that's something you might need to read, might not. Personal settings and notifications for TCU Online. Student success. Student success tools for TCU Online. Again, all stuff I just block copied from what we were sort of a sample syllabus. Let's see, support for TCU, alcohol and drug education. Of course, you're not allowed to go to any of these because COVID-19. I don't know. I assume you can't. Although I would strongly suspect that you can Zoom with these people. But these are all the places on campus where you might need to have contact. Okay. Now we have TCU's Discrimination Policy and Title IX at TCU. And I've been going over this, actually. I don't know if it's required in our syllabi now, but I started including it a while ago. I guess in response to all the stuff that I was telling you about in economics, where there's a lot of problems with race and gender, and that really bothered me. And so I started to include some things in the syllabus about that, and about sexual assault, about discrimination, and so forth. And so this, however, I took word for word from TCU, and I think I did back when I did it before too, but it just wasn't required to be in your syllabus at that point. I will tell you something that's important here, and that is that I have a mandatory reporting responsibility. So, for example, if somebody was a victim of sexual assault and they were going to share something with me about that, I would have to say, I'm absolutely, totally here to help you. But if you tell me, I have to tell the campus. Now, I can arrange instead for you to meet with somebody in, let's see, what department would that be? The confidential advocate in the Campus Advocacy Resources and Education Center. All right, so I would contact them. But this is a really important issue. All right, so you know how you have to do these videos every year, and maybe you guys haven't had to do this yet, but your HR, your human resources training videos, every year you have to go through and watch these and show that you've watched them and so forth. They had a really good one. Usually they're kind of dumb. Should Bob come to work after having had a 6-pack of beer and a bottle of Jack Daniels? No, probably not. That's probably a violation of some sort. So no, he shouldn't. Click no. All right. But this one was actually pretty good. And so they went through all the issues with this. And that really kind of moved me, too, to starting making a bigger deal out of this in class. Also, I'm very interested in the women and gender studies and the diversity and equity and inclusion stuff on campus. And I co-taught I guess it was fall semester when we were all allowed to be on campus, the Intro Women and Gender Studies class. So again, these things are all in my head right now. So let's see. Okay, and here's obligations to report conduct. I was just telling you about that. It goes through all that. Again, these are things I just block copied because we're supposed to have them on here. Statement of disability services. Okay, this is very important. All right. People who have certain disabilities have the right to access to different resources. For example, a couple of times I've had somebody in class who has a difficulty, and this was back when we actually had a campus to go to, who had difficulty like writing out an exam, all right? That they had one of their accommodations, that's the word I'm looking for, was that they should be able to type it. And I was talking about this to somebody, and they said, oh yeah, that's a so-and-so, phenomenon. But this one guy went from a D on exam 1 to all of a sudden he's making A's and B's the rest of the semester. And I know he wasn't cheating because it was a computer I brought from the house that had no internet access. So that's all he was using. All of a sudden, because he didn't have to, do the motor skills or whatever it is to write, but he could type instead, made a huge difference. So we want to know these things. We want to make sure that the playing field is not even, all right? But we want to make it as even as it can be, and to give these folks a chance to show what they truly know. That guy truly knew enough to make an A or a B, but he'd made a D on the first test. Speaking of which, so he got tested after exam 1, right? And then he found out about this, these issues. And one of the things they point out here is that it's not retroactive. That that did not give him the right to go back and retake exam 1. Exam 1 is done. It's in the books. All right. So and that's a shame. That's not a good thing in the overall sense of justice in the universe. But I guess what they're thinking is, I don't know, maybe this is part of the law itself. You can't then go back and retake those 15 hours of classes you took last semester too. I don't know what the logic is behind it exactly, but the rule is that you got to be tested by TCU, all right, by our testing center. And then they give me a sheet of paper. Well, actually, you give it to me. I don't know how the hell we do it now. But a sheet of paper that shows me the accommodations. And then once that's done, if it's done during the semester, we can't go back and redo an assignment. So anyway, let's see. Emergency response information. Okay, instructor qualifications. I earned my BA, MA, and PhD at the University of Tennessee in 1983, 86, and 87. My undergraduate was... let me stop here and tell you. One day I was deciding, it was before the semester started, and what I always did was I'll make a little list for myself for all the things I usually talk about on the first day of class. And then I thought, you moron, you should be like typing it up so that you don't have to remake the list every semester. And then I thought, it should be on a PowerPoint. So I was in the middle of that, and I thought, well, I should Google what other professors do. I never thought about doing that. And one of the things I had never thought about doing was including my own qualifications. And to a large extent, you can feel pretty safe that the TCU's let me teach this class, then I know what I'm doing, hopefully. But one time I did like a whole hour's worth of video, and this is the microphone right here, and the microphone was off. So all of a sudden I was hit with panic, and no, it's on. And I thought, well, think about this. What if you were going to take a class at the local high school on coaching high school football, all right? And this class is going to cost you $500. Man, I want to know what the qualifications are of the teacher before I plop down $500. If the qualifications are, I just love football, I watch football all the time, then you're not getting my $500. But if it's like, I've won 10 Texas State High School championships, it's like, oh, okay, well, I might pay $500 for that. So what we're trying to establish here is, why on earth are you paying $4,000-something for this? Why? Well, let's see. Okay, so I got my undergrad was economics and political science, and my graduate degrees were just economics. And because econometrics is a tool all economists have been taught to use, it is our assumption that any member of our department could teach this class, all right? So any member of our department could teach micro or macro at any level in econometrics. These are core courses. But above and beyond that, as I explained to you a minute ago, I took all the field courses, and I also frequently use it in my own research. Here are some papers that are using, empirical analysis, econometrics. I got one under review right now at the Cambridge Journal of Economics. Here's one, so that one's a present. It's been a while since I've written something empirical. I got into doing theory stuff there for a while, but you can see here, 2005.